I had to interrupt Isaiah, one of the highest jumpers in the world. I'm his coach, John, and we own a business called THPstrength because I asked him how he was going to jump after doing all these sprints, and he got excited. So I'm going to ask you that same question. How do you think you are going to jump after doing a ton of sprint volume and a lot of other stuff? We're kind of a mixed bag cycle at the moment,
We're a concurrent setup, if you will.
i.e., mixed bag.
Yeah, yeah. Not
We don't
quite
really have like
conjugate. More, it's like we're more towards the concurrent continuum of things and not the conjugate side of
you're
things.
saying
But
we balance all the variables.
yeah, I'm like it's a pretty even blend between the Olympic lifting and the sprinting. It's a pretty
Right.
even blend between that and the high volume stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is the time to do it, right? Because we just finished up last kind of like half the macro cycle, and we're kind of starting into our next macro cycle here. And we're experimenting with volume, alternating volume and intensity. But nonetheless, one of the things that we integrated that Isaiah and I agreed we could do earlier, and we definitely wouldn't really want to test it later, is sprinting. And we don't know yet. We do know that Isaiah has definitely lost a lot of weight. We know that you've probably gotten quite a bit faster, but or at least returned to fitness when it came to sprinting, pretty close.
Yeah,
So we're kind of in a position now where we want to see what happens when we pull all this stuff out. So next week's the deload week, and we're going to be taking out a lot of the sprinting. Definitely not. We're definitely not doing it later in the week. We probably won't do it on Monday, and the intensity is going to climb up a little bit, but the overall load is going to be really, really low. Typically, what I like to do in deloads, I don't always do that, but generally with Isaiah, it works pretty well. And I don't think I'll even have you test, by the way, next week. I think we'll save that for
yeah,
next cycle because I don't want to fatigue you. But I have a feeling you're gonna have the potential to jump really, really, really freaking high.
yeah.
Like,
I think the
what
biggest
are you anticipating?
so what I was saying before we started the podcast was that this year has confused me. I I don't know anything now. No,
Is
I'm
it the
playing.
Dunning Kruger effect, bro? It's
No,
happening
it's
in real time.
I've jumped high with everything. I've
Yes.
literally jumped high with everything. Not so it's not that I'm confused in a bad way. It's that I've jumped high with things that I normally would not have expected. And
Like what?
specifically it's with my strength dropping off. I've never ever jumped well when I had a low power clean and specifically like all-time numbers. Like I've jumped in the 46 to 48 range when I haven't been super strong, but I was jumping in the 50 range without being my all-time strongest, which has never happened before. Every single time I've touched 50 in the past has been at the tail end of me PRing my power clean.
It's like you don't know whether it's the training that has led to this or if it's just that your basement, regardless, irrespective of in spite
Yeah,
of training, you're jumping high, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Is it because of the
So,
training or is it in spite of it? Like, we don't really know right now. So this deload
because
is
it
pretty important.
yeah, because if I get my strength back and then now I'm jumping 51 or 52, then it would be like,
It
"Oh,
confirms what we've always thought.
I just became a better athlete." If
Right.
I unload so this past month, strength is pretty much back. Like I hit 275 for a double in week 3 of loading, which is a pretty good for me.
That was
Um,
Monday, right? Yeah, Monday.
yeah, that was on Monday, and then the clean pulls yesterday, I was moving some pretty heavy weight pretty well. So, I'm getting my strength back, and then with the sprint, it's something I haven't done in probably 2 years with that level of quality. So, I would expect to jump very well. Like, looking at all the numbers and how the past year of training has gone, and then the environment, I would expect to be able to PR my vertical. Like, I don't think there's some cycles where it's like, we go in not expecting to PR, but this would
Right.
be a rare instance where something big could happen. But I don't know.
My bigger concern is the environment.
Yeah.
Um, like, I'm very concerned about whether you're going to have the time and the rest intervals to maintain focus. That's my bigger concern, which is usually not a thing. I've never talked about this before, but when Isaiah's testing, I think this goes of any athlete really. You have to be really focused when you want to perform at a super high level. And it's not something that you or I really talk about because we're more focused on creating a better product and like letting the athlete do what they've always done, which is compete and be a gamer. But if you have all those people in a session, like, and this isn't to discredit anyone coming to the session, but you're not at the same level that Isaiah or Espinoza is outside of like, unless Donovan, Tony, Espinoza, maybe a few other people in the world are in that session, it's like it can detract from what you're trying to do, specifically testing 51. Even if those people are there, it can detract from it, right? Like I've seen you test with Sutherland before and it distracts you because he goes up and slaps a higher, bell or vert tab than you have, and it's like deflating. So, it's a very delicate environment where when you want to have someone test really, really well, you either have to have the competitiveness where you're like kind of kicking everyone's ass and you're able to like be competitive and keep a good energy going and like a rhythm to the testing, or you have to just be so fit and dialed in on your own. There's no one around where it doesn't matter. So those are the two lenses that I've seen. And that's why I'm a little bit worried. The only thing that I think is maybe a caveat is you might test well in spite of all that because you are unloaded. You are very fit
Yeah.
right now. We did just finish a really effective 4-month macro cycle where we got a lot of really high quality training in, and you're unloaded from that and returning to fitness qualities that maybe detrained a little bit that we think are really important. So it's possible that, we had everything happen that we needed to happen. We went general specific. Your specific volume kind of is down right now, I would say, but we're returning all these other fitness levels up. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen per se, but I do think the sprinting has probably maintained rate of force development really well. It's definitely helped your nervous system quite a bit. Your tendons should have had proper, I would call it like stimuli to push adaptation. Like it should have hit like the adaptive threshold for any of the squats and things like that, and the patella and the Achilles. The volumes have been lower, but I still think it'll be more than sufficient. So yeah, I'm pretty confident you're going to test 50.5 to 51.5. That's where I think you'll test in that range.
Yeah.
But where it'll fall, I don't know. And if you don't, I would be surprised. And I would kind of wonder if it was a different reason than the training.
I
Like
think
I would attribute it to something else other than the training if you don't. I would think it's probably going to be something related to the environment.
I think there's gonna be literally just one variable that's gonna determine if I PR or not, and it's how healthy I feel.
Oh, you think that I don't know if this is a scam, by the way, but it's like pay these tolls or you're gonna lose your
Bro,
license.
I've been getting like bombarded by those text
You
messages.
you and I know we're paranoid about that. So ignore them if you're listening to this podcast. Well, the government tolls don't text you. How would they get my number?
I
That's
went
a
on
great.
a report junk spree last night. Like I was just like report junk, report junk, report junk, report junk.
Good. Anyways, go on with what you're saying.
But I think
Health.
that's gonna be the only limiter. I think if I am healthy enough to where I can push 100% without regard for my safety, I'm gonna PR. Bro, the session last weekend, it felt like I could have.
What was the limiter last week? The TFL.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really just at this point not blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that you communicated this with me as your coach because it helps
Yeah.
guide the recommendations.
Yeah.
Have you
Nah,
been staying on top of the ISOs?
yeah. Yeah, I have.
So you think that the sprint volume plus the squatting is
Sprinting, no, I think it's purely the squatting.
what about the cleans, the catches?
Nope.
Huh, that usually pisses it off.
Yeah, the squatting, it's at a pretty good spot. It's just I've been pushing a failure basically on the squats.
So in the past, when we've had really good responses, it's 4x6, relatively heavy the last couple reps. That seems to be based on the data we've collected. That's when you respond the best to, or is it the heavier stuff?
I responded best to right left jumping.
Well, we could do that this week.
Train hard and right left jump.
I would not left right for sure this week.
Yeah.
If that's the case, yeah, definitely not. I would right, left, and play basketball.
All
Does
right.
basketball bother it?
No.
Yeah, I would definitely. I wouldn't even right, left, bro. I would just play basketball and don't jump.
I think if I played basketball without jumping, I would be very confident in going in there and feeling healthy.
Here's the problem.
I'm me.
And Lewis is here. Well, it's up to you. I mean, you got to pick your poison.
This is why
here.
you got to be there. You got to be there to police.
At Friday, yeah, I will be there.
Only jump
Friday,
shooting.
Oh, Friday. It depends on what you want to do. Do you want to test 51 on Friday next week?
Yeah. For
Do
sure.
you want to dunk tomorrow?
Not as bad as I want to test.
Okay, then I can happily police that.
Yeah.
Lewis is going to have to carry. Where are we playing? We don't even know. We don't even have a plan. That's a huge thing, guys. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, but if we don't plan appropriately for these things, it can be a little bit of a cluster F.
I think it's because of where we live. That's the
Yeah, no, 100%. That is very much what it is. But hopefully we'll, the longer we're here, we'll kind of problem solve and stuff like that. Sometimes the courts are closed. Like that's been the big one actually, is that courts being closed. It was open the other day, by the way. I'll check today. But yeah, I think your potential upside's huge. I will definitely keep that in mind moving forward, is the keep Isaiah healthy. Some guys were like, John, your athletes are getting hurt. And I'm like, the fuck? This isn't my fault. What do you want me to do?
Did you see what I responded?
You're like, he tells us not to do things and we do them anyways.
I think I literally said, I was like, it's not his fault, it's our fault
for not listening. And I'm like, I cannot control them. I like, what do you want? I'm not like this omnipotent God that I can stop them from doing things I know aren't good for them. Like
every injury I've ever had has come as a result of going off plan. Pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, the big ones I can think of, the quad pull for sure. The TFL was more so you were like, I'm good.
A warm up and pushing intensity too hard when I didn't need to. It's
more so the big rule of me saying, hey, dude, listen to your body. If it hurts, it's not worth it, whatever else. And then you being like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you just
the knee last year, that was pushing intensity when I didn't need to. Sessions were too long when you told me not to. It's literally always that. It's going off plan. The hard part is it's things that don't seem like a big deal
at the time,
but those things add up over time, right? So if your sessions are supposed to be 30 minutes, or a perfect example is tomorrow, right? I'm supposed to go in and play basketball, but then you left right jump, or you play longer than you're supposed to, or like is that type of thing, and then they like compound over time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But we'll try to police. I'll try to police it. Is Lewis in the room? Can he advocate for this? Lewis, can you advocate for this, that you can make sure this happens?
Make sure that I play basketball
and do not jump left, right.
I think I can. You said you can help with that.
30 minutes? 30 minutes, are we thinking?
Of what?
Of hooping?
I would say like 2 to 3 games.
2 to 3 games, Lewis?
If I play 2 to 3 games and not dunk, and then I think he wants to try to touch above 11.
Oh, yeah, Lewis, make sure you recover well today. Eat a lot of pasta, eat a lot of protein. Your body's been pounded to hell in a non-sexual way this week. Put your body under a meat tenderizer with the squatting volume. But anyways, yeah, I feel like it's a good one. We'll keep it short and sweet today. If you guys are interested in getting coaching, go to THPstrength.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow. We typically podcast after the session, so hopefully we have good news and Isaiah didn't break the plan.
Should be a fun, chill day.
It will be. All right. See you guys.